Hello everyone, this is Beta Reborn. Welcome to my retro gaming channel. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to please like and subscribe to this channel and share if you find my content useful. Any info provided here is for entertainment purposes only, and it's only my own personal opinion, not to be taken as professional advice. Therefore, everyone is encouraged to make their own personal decisions and conclusions. So let's get started. In my previous video, I unboxed the ATARI Gamestation Pro. I'm providing a link down below to that video so you can check it out. In that video, I showed what the system comes with and a general look into the games included. For this video, we're going to do a deeper dive, all thanks to your recommendations and questions. I'm dividing this video in 3 sections. We will be looking at 1, my own personal setup and what I'm using. 2, a list of every game included in the ATARI Gamestation Pro. And 3, some basic factors to consider before buying the system. All this for the purpose of helping you decide if this is the right system for you before deciding to invest your hard-earned money in it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Disclosure, I'm not very tech savvy and I just started getting into retro game collecting. So my setup is not all that's cracked up to be, but it does the job. Okay, so let's take a look at my own personal setup. First, let's take a look at my monitor. I bought this monitor at Amazon. Hope I can pronounce this correctly. The brand is called Sceptre. Now, even though I use this monitor for other personal purposes, I knew I wanted it to support video gaming, so I started searching around the internet what specs to look for on a monitor. And based on my findings, I came about this awesome website called Product Chart. I'm not being sponsored by this website or anyone in particular by any means, first of all. So, decide on your own if you like to use this website. It seems to provide a list of every single monitor for sale on Amazon. You can search monitors by pixels, refresh rate, response time, monitor size, price range, depending on what you want to spend. You get the picture. Once you sorted out your possible monitors to get, click on the pick and it takes you to its page on Amazon. The reason I mention this, it's because I've read on other platforms that several gamers have experienced lag. One possible reason for this lag may be the monitor you are using. So, take a look and decide for yourself what specs apply most to your needs. I'm providing a link for the Product Chart website down below. Next, they just arrived. I decided to connect my joysticks to my ATARI Gamestation Pro rather than going wireless. Personally, I didn't notice any difference between going wireless and connecting my joystick to the console, unless you want to stand very far away from your monitor. The wireless reaching distance I tested was 24 feet and the joystick worked great. I could have kept on going, but I ran out of space to keep walking. So, if you want to save some dollars, wireless would be your best option. If you decide to go with wired joysticks, you must use Type-C cables. The joysticks and console support male-to-male USB cables. Also, you may want to get round surface cables rather than flat ones. Although both work great, round cables offer better electrical and physical performance in heavy-duty applications, especially if you're going to play for hours and hours. Make sure your USB cables are at least 3.0 since these are better for high speed and high resolution. I would also not recommend getting any cables above 6 feet because this could potentially provide input lag when you're playing. The lower the quality of cables, the shorter you may want to get them. I provided a link down below to the cables I'm using and bought on Amazon. Next, it's my microSD cards. I have an old 32GB microSD card which came with a digital camera I bought in 2021. Without even reading the ATARI Gamestation Pro owner's manual first, I order a 256GB microSD card. If you take a look at the owner's manual, it specifically says the console supports 128GB microSD cards. When my 256GB microSD card arrived, the console would not even read it. So I exchanged it with my digital camera's microSD card and problem solved. I plan on getting multiple cards in the future for each individual console. Reason being that you can only navigate one single folder on your microSD card on the ATARI Gamestation Pro. It makes it more tedious to navigate through each individual game, and it's even worse when you do not know how to rename your ROMs on your microSD card to sort them out, like myself. So, if you have any suggestions on how to rename ROMs on a microSD card without damaging the game files, please comment down below for any advice on how to learn this process. One last note. You must include a folder named Games on your microSD card where you plan on storing your game ROMs. I did also order a different type of joystick, but the Gamestation Pro did not support it. I will probably try in the future to buy different ones and do more testing to see if there's any joysticks out there the ATARI Gamestation Pro does support. Now, let's get into the fun part. Let's talk about a question that seems to circulate very often online. What games are included with this system? The console includes exactly 201 video games. 82 from the Atari 2600 Gamestation, 7 from the Atari 5200, 10 from the Atari 7800, 39 arcade games, which are clones of the previous 3 systems just mentioned, but with graphics designed to appeal to the mass crowd gathering at arcades. Finally, this console includes 63 bonus games. The bonus games are from Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, and other systems I had never heard of, like Unico Electronics, Commodore 16, and Electronic Devices, to name a few. Here is the complete list of all the games included. Now, we have to look at some interesting factors before you decide whether you want to purchase this console as the last part of this video. As I had previously mentioned on my last video, the microSD card insert was one of the major reasons I decided to attain this console. However, for those of you who do not feel comfortable using ROMs and rather only play games you physically own the cartridges for, I totally understand and support that, and would even conclude that this system may not be the right fit for you if the games included here is not to your satisfaction. However, judging by the system's microSD slot included, I'm going to play conspiracy theorist and say there is always a chance this company, MyArcade, may add some games to the system in the future. One of the reasons I think this, it's because if the company is adding games that were region exclusive in the past, I'm guessing many consoles may start enticing retro gamers back to the market by making more region exclusive games available to the West. Then again, I might be wrong. Also, in my findings, newer consoles don't seem to be supported. If you are of the generation that started playing when the Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and PlayStation came out, your system may not be supported. Is it worth buying? Only if you are exclusively into retro gaming, I would say. Should you play using your own ROMs? That is up to you. Only you alone can make that decision. Personally, this system has inspired me to collect future physical cartridges I never considered buying before. There seems to be an endless treasure of video games we never even heard of because we either could not afford them as a kid, were not even available in our part of the world, or we simply did not have the maturity to appreciate them. For me, this system has showed me that despite what other retro gamers might think, retro gaming is entering a new era. It might be worth exploring a world we never had a chance to do as a child. Why? It's up to us who lived during that original era when the world knew nothing about video games. Those of us who are part of Generation X are the last generation that knew what it felt like having a childhood without video games, without cell phones, and playing in the streets without the need of any technology. In my humble opinion, certain games are worth looking into to keep their memory alive for future generations to enjoy. I'd like to thank everyone if you made it this far. I put a lot of time and effort to this video, so please like and subscribe, share, and comment down below. This channel can only grow with your support. Take care.